Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to show you how to paint raw wood cabinets. We just got them from Lowe's. So I hope you guys enjoy. So I put wood filler in on this drawer. This whole piece up here wasn't connected, so we had to glue it on. And there was a crack that you could still see, so I put wood filler. And then where the cabinets joined up together, there was like a line crack thing, so I put wood filler in that too. So I'm going to sand those spots, and then I'm going to take a little, like an artist brush, and get these little areas that still need to be painted. And then once that's done, I'll pretty much be done with the cabinets besides putting on the poles for them. So sorry, I don't know why my camera's struggling so much. And I have like a cold thing, so that's why my voice sounds so weird. Okay, so I had to get my roller out. I need to paint this one, and I need to paint this one because I had to sand some spots where it was rough, which took off the paint. And then underneath both of these drawers, there's little spots that need to be painted, so I'll just use the roller for that. And then it will be done, all the cabinets will be done being painted, and I'll just need to seal it and then put the hardware on. Okay, so I've seen a lot of people do it where they mix the polyacrylic and the paint for like darker paints, so that way you don't get it kind of streaky, a streaky finish, because when you do polyacrylic on dark paint, if you've ever tried it before, you know that it gets streaky. So anyway, I've never tried it. I've thought about it before, like before I saw people doing it, I thought of doing that, and then I've seen quite a few people do it since. And I've been scared to try it, but today I'm gonna try it, so hopefully it turns out good since I'm doing my cabinets. So we'll see. This is the clear matte polyacrylic. I usually use the matte one. I don't really like the glossy one because I feel like it's a little harder to work with, whereas the matte is pretty easy and I feel like protects well. Okay, so I got my polyacrylic in there, so now I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of this Valspar paint that I've been using for the cabinets. It was a mist tint. It's a high gloss, it's ultra interior paint and primer. For some reason this one was kind of sticky, this paint, so I added plaster of Paris to make it a chalk paint, and that helped a little bit, but I'm hoping also that the polyacrylic that is matte will help it not be as like tacky feeling. It's better after it dried down for like a week or so, but it still is just a little bit like the doors will stick a little. So anyway, I hope that will help. But I'm just gonna add a tiny bit just to basically make this a green color. Okay, I added more paint than I meant to, so I added a little more polyacrylic. So hopefully it'll work and it'll be okay, because I didn't mean to add that much. I was just going to add like a tiny bit basically to like tint the polyacrylic. So hopefully it turns out okay. Okay, I'm just going to do that much for right now just to see how it dries and how it looks before I do any more, because I don't want it to be ruined and then have to redo everything. So okay, so I let it dry for a little bit and some of it's still a little bit wet, but it's looking normal and it's looking good, so I'm going to keep going. I actually touched some of it that was still a little wet and it feels just like polyacrylic does, so that's a good sign to me because I didn't add too much paint then, since it feels like polyacrylic does. Because obviously I don't want to just add another layer of paint, I want it to be the protective coat. So if it looks kind of horrible like after you put it on, that's okay. Like especially if you're using a roller, it's gonna kind of like bubble up like that. I don't know how you guys can see that, but it looks pretty bad and a little scary. But it's dried just fine. So I just kind of go over it a couple times though to make it as less like bubbly as I can. But with polyacrylic, if you've never used it before, you just really gotta be careful that it doesn't drip down on like the corners and stuff, because it is pretty thin. But if you just make sure that all your edges are good, like these corners, like over here, you don't want to leave like little spots like that, because you will definitely be able to see it. It will be kind of like this bluish white little thing, piece of polyacrylic on your piece. So definitely get those spots, but the bubbles are okay because they'll dry away or dry down. So I lied, it did actually end up bubbling and it looked pretty bad. So what I did once I noticed that is I let it sit for a minute after I painted on the polyacrylic, and then I went back and then rolled over it again and it wasn't near as bubbly. I'd probably just use a brush in the future though, because that's what I've used in the past and I've never had any problems with any like texture or anything from the brush. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you next time.